Hey, welcome to the Tigers Halftime Breakdown Podcast. We're here to talk about great Auburn sports and most of all, great football. Let's get to it.
Halftime Breakdown Podcast. We're back with you today. I'm Dave Kashmer, and with me, as always, is Auburn superfan Tom Dunnam. Tom, what's going on?
Oh, just living the dream, school and work, and watching Auburn sports, and we just wrapped up football season completely, so.
Yeah, it's been a heck of a couple weeks in sports, and this week we're going to talk all about the pros wrapping up with the Eagles-Chiefs Super Bowl, I guess you could call it, and we'll just talk briefly about what's going on with Auburn basketball, Auburn sports. We'll wrap it up with a couple brief comments about Auburn baseball. And so with that, Tom, what'd you think of that Super Bowl?
Honestly, I was glad the Chiefs and the Swifties got their asses whipped.
I hear you on that one. I'll tell you, I'm going to pat myself a little bit on the back for calling the Eagles to go all the way through. But I'll tell you, those last two games, conference championship and Super Bowl, man, those were, if you're an Eagles fan, great to watch. But otherwise, for football fans, not so hot.
No, not really, especially the Super Bowl. It's supposed to be the biggest game of the year, and it was a pretty mediocre game, to say the least.
Yeah, I think really the Eagles exposed all the Chiefs' weaknesses. I think having to stack the box for Saquon really opened up the secondary for the Chiefs to get exposed, and the corner play for the Chiefs and the secondary as a whole just didn't have it against the Eagles receivers and Jalen Hurts on that day. That was my read on the game. What'd you think?
Pretty much the same thing. They couldn't stop that Philly offense, and then they got some turnovers defensively. Patrick Mahomes didn't play very well. Travis Kelce didn't do anything. Probably had his mind on potentially proposing to Taylor Swift after the game. I'm going to get in as many shots there as I can.
I hear you, and I'll tell you, I do always root for Andy Reid. He was the Eagles' ex-coach. I love his system. I think it makes good quarterbacks look great and tends to inflate their quarterback rating. But I'm going to tell you, Mahomes never had his feet set. And I think there was a series where on 3 downs in a row, he got sacked every time. It was just a tough day to be Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, if they want to get back next year, they probably need to beef up that offensive line again and probably get him some different targets out wide. They just really didn't even have the true number one target this year.
Yeah, I think that certainly showed. And now going from the pros to Auburn sports and particularly Auburn basketball, it's been a great ride the last couple weeks. But I got to say, against the Gators, it was a tough game. Early Auburn leads, but then down the stretch, it really was a Gators ball game. Tom, what did you think?
We just ran into a team that shot the ball lights out, and we had trouble getting rebounds defensively, which caused a lot of second opportunities for them, which would turn into some of those three-pointers they hit. I think they wound up hitting 13 against us. Honestly, it's hard to win when you play like that, but we were due a loss. We probably needed a loss with this week coming up, especially with the colossal matchup against Bama, the first ever 1-2 matchup in SEC history. So we needed to probably go ahead and get a loss out of the way, so hopefully we'll get one on the road in Coleman Coliseum on Saturday.
I'm looking forward to the Bama matchup for sure. I was disappointed by the Gators loss, but like you said, it can't be every game's a win, even if you're the number one team. And I was impressed that despite the loss, Auburn maintained its number one ranking. What'd you think?
Yeah, there wasn't really a reason to move us down. We still have a better resume than anybody in college basketball and a better record as well. So I always thought that one loss wasn't going to hurt that. Unless Duke had won, then Duke probably would have jumped us, but Duke also lost as well, so they fell below Bama, and that sets up the 1-2 this Saturday.
I agree with you. I think the Duke loss was really instrumental in Auburn maintaining its number one ranking. I was glad to see it. I think it's really great for all of us locally fans to maintain that, and I do look forward to, like you said, the 1-2 game coming up. I think it's going to be awesome. So it's going to be just a great time over at halftime to have a couple and watch the game for sure. I think we wanted to comment on how proud we are of Auburn basketball. And then last, just some coming attractions and thoughts about Auburn baseball. I know we've been talking a little bit about it. You all set for this season?
Yeah, first pitch is at 6 p.m. Friday, so I'll go pick up my little giveaway thing, and then I'll have to come to work. But should be a pretty good year. The pitching should be improved over last year. We have a potential top 10 player in our lineup as well, and Ike Irish going to be playing a little catcher. And I think he's going to play some of the outfield too, if I'm not mistaken, this year. But as potential be, even as high as a top 5 pick, so it should be a definite improvement over last year.
I look forward to it like you do, and I think we're going to be in for a good ride at halftime for the rest of this basketball season through the Final Four. Look forward to watching it with you. Can't say how excited I am to see the success for Auburn basketball, and I'm looking forward to a great baseball year too. So I think the future is bright for this season coming up. Look forward to seeing the games with you.
Yes, sir.
All right, with that, we'll sign off with a big War Eagle. We'll see you soon. And Tom, always good to talk sports with you. Look forward to doing it again soon.
Yes, sir. War Eagle.
Come on down to halftime. If you haven't been in there before, let me tell you, it's all about great sports. Sports every day, sports all year round, Auburn sports, professional sports, you name it. If it's great sports, it's halftime. Come on down.
Guys, welcome back to the podcast. And now we're in Cocktail Corner. This is the time where we hear all those crazy stories from the trail from some of our colleagues from downtown who are nice enough to work with us when we just need a really good cocktail. So with me again is Lydia Love and Darby Price. Here they are. And these are our two cocktail mixology experts. And boy, let me tell you, these ladies have some stories. So ladies, how are you both doing today? And welcome to the show.
We're excellent. How are you, Dave?
I'm hoping that these stories don't involve me that you're about to tell. That's really mostly what this is.
Maybe one or two.
We'll do some careful editing. But let's get to it. We were talking before y'all came on about just some of the amazing things that you guys have seen. And I know, Darby, both you and Lydia have a bunch of experience and you've seen some crazy stuff. What kinds of things do you guys see on a busy night up there?
It depends on the hour, but it definitely gets crazier as the night goes on. Yeah, they get pretty rowdy up there. Since you've been in there, we have some paintings on the wall. And they're all music related to artists, bands, albums. And they're actually nailed into the wall because they're big wooden paintings. So we have them secure. And there was one night these kids got rowdy and they really decided that they liked the painting, the Misfits one, closest to the front steps. And so they decided to rip it off the wall and try to leave with it, thinking that we wouldn't notice this Mad Lib painting getting ripped out of the wall.
Ladies, that's the trouble with serving such delicious cocktails up at Avenue. We don't even notice. And next thing you know, trouble's afoot and we decide we want the painting from the wall. It just seems to be a thing. So, guys, how did they go about, what exactly did they do to try to get it off the wall? And were they subtle about it at all?
Probably. There was no subtlety. It was just a group of guys grabbing it and ripping it. Whenever you're drunk and determined, you get that nice little extra strength. Yeah. And so they managed to rip it off. We have it put back on. Obviously, they didn't get anywhere with the painting because it's very apparent. Well, we noticed stuff like that.
Those things are huge. And I guess my question is, did they have a plan of concealment? How are you going to get something that big down those awesome Avondale steps? What was going on? What were they?
I don't know. I think that they chose that specific painting. It's a cool painting, but I think they chose it because it's the closest to the stairs. Yeah. So it's the easy exit right there. George Jones and Dolly Parton were safe. Yeah. No one's touching that. That's too noticeable.
So now I need to hear more clearly. What I'm curious about, besides the lack of a plan, was, okay, y'all see this. You're busy working. I'm sure it was a pretty busy night. What's the next step? How do you even go about stopping a band of 4 or 5 drunk guys from just thinking they can just walk out with your painting?
You take whatever you have in your tin, you set it down, and it wasn't like one person going over there. It's a group of us going over there. And whenever we're going over there grabbing the painting, luckily it wasn't like fighting for them. They got scared because they were caught, and so they just booked it without the painting. down the stairs and out the door.
All right. So they were allowed to escape, whether intentionally or no, out the door. Nobody fell and got themselves or anything like that. What story of all the things that I feel like you would have told me, I was not anticipating somebody taking one of the oversized canvases from Avondale that are very obvious.
Heavy too, because it's wood. Thick and hefty.
Yeah. Well, for our listeners out there, if you haven't been up to Avondale lately, part of what's great about the vibe is the art on the wall. And I didn't realize how heavy they were because I've never tried to steal one from small. Knowing that as part of our public service announcement, guys, girls, cocktails up there are delicious. No matter how many you have, don't go for the paintings on the wall. Lydia, Darby, somebody's going to notice, and your night is going to somehow get worse after that. So strange. Anything else that people have ever tried to take, obviously or not obviously, from the bar?
The cups. The cups go missing.
Specifically the
crazy.
copper mule.
Yeah, the Moscow Mule Cup, the copper cups, those are casualties everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're everywhere. They're beautiful. And people. No, you can't. Ladies, what a strange story. And with that, next time I'm up at Avondale, which I'm sure will be soon, I will notice even more so the really cool art on the wall and think about the time that a bunch of intoxicated guys just decided, I want that in my home or my frat house, and pulled it off the wall. Such an unusual thing. What time of day was this, Lydia? Was this 2 a.m.? Was this a 2 a.m. thing?
Closer to 1, like 12:30, 1-ish. But, getting closer to that time. But there was still a few amount of people in there. And so I think that they thought that maybe it would be covered up. But it's too large to not notice.
Again, of all the stories that I expected to hear, that was not one of them. Really pretty funny. Guys, again, with that, don't steal the art from the wall, no matter where you are, any of the local bars. Ladies, thanks for Cocktail Corner. I can't imagine what else you guys have seen, and I look forward to it. Again, that's how the delicious cocktails at Avondale get you. Next thing you know, you've had 2 or 3 delicious cocktails from the menu that is seasonal that you make all the time, and suddenly the art on the wall looks pretty good. So thanks for telling the story. We'll see you for the next one, guys. Thanks.
Thank you, David.
I'm driven all around this great country, mostly on a bus. Let me tell you, one of the things you can see from the bus is one of the best sports bars I've seen, and that's Halftime in Auburn, Alabama. You get there, you get great food, you get great drink specials, and great people. It's just a good place to be, whether you're watching a game or hanging out with friends. So listen, you should come on down and try Halftime, just like this podcast is just a great place to be.